So this sample here is in 3/4 time, and we can listen to it. You'll hear it's 1, 2, 3, 2. Let me just let you hear it. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, do, 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 do. 3/4. You can kind of tell what's in 3/4. It's more of a feeling thing. You'll know it's kind of waltzy, a little like whimsical. That's the kind of feeling I get from 3/4. You can definitely tell. And if you can't tell, if you try and put it in 4/4, like if you try and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, it'll sound weird. Like the phrases don't fit 4/4 because it's not in 4/4. But first thing, it's just normal shit. We just put it in time. So that's right here. What you can do is you can actually put the time signature in 3/4 here. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. You see, now it's in 3/4. And I mean, if you want to make the beat in 3/4, you can change the whole project to 3/4 up here. And now you see it'll all set to 3/4. The metronome will match it. But most people won't be making stuff in 3/4. And a lot of problems that I used to have with certain samples, because a lot of like cool samples I like to use before were in 3/4, and I would always have trouble putting it in 4/4 because if I put my drums down, I just threw down some random drums here. It's just nothing crazy. Stupid ass fill. But you'll see if I try put it with, so these drums are in 4/4. 3, 4, 2. Obviously, if I try put it with this, it kind of works, but it definitely doesn't. You know what I mean? They're just not on the same page. These guys, they're having completely different conversations. You know? So what we can do with this sample, there are a ton of ways to put something from 3/4 into 4/4. A really easy kind of quick way to do it is just take just the first 3 and then just drag this over. Because if you think about it, since it's in 3/4, this is the start of the measure, like 1, 2, 3, and then you just take the next start of the measure. If it's in 3/4, and you just put it where the start of the measure would be in 4/4. I hope that makes sense. Like you would just do something like this, but when you do it like this, you have these gaps. Like it kind of works, but you do have these gaps that you need to fill in, and I mean you can fill them with just like anything, really. You know, you can be creative. You can fill it in like that. So that's one way to do it. In the same similar kind of vein to what I just did, you can, instead of just cutting and dragging it, you can actually just warp it over like that. I usually don't do this too much because it kind of, sometimes it'll sound weird because it'll be super slowed down. You'll see the BPM down here is 170 when our track BPM is 116. And when we dragged it over, we went from 126 to 170, which is crazy. But sometimes it might work, but you'll notice it's in 4/4 now. It's a little wonky. So you can go the other way and just speed it up. You can drag it over so it's quicker. I just press these buttons. These down here are pretty useful. This is doubles the tempo or it'll half it. So if I double it, super slow. If I half it, be super fast. That kind of works. See how it works with the. Yeah, it's kind of hard. Yeah, so that's another way to go about doing it. This here is a better example of like the stretching. So the warp modes are important, and if you're curious about the warp modes, I just made a video about that earlier as well. But the warp was on beats, which is why when I had it super stretched, is this the right one? Yeah. When I had it super stretched, it still didn't sound on beat. I just had to warp it. Listen. It still kind of sounds a little weird, but I think it sounds better than it was when it was on beats. Just wanted to mention that because it sounded a little weird when editing, and then you see the fast version. Yeah. Another thing, if once you kind of have an ear for like sampling and stuff, you can kind of just take shit and kind of just glue it together. And it'll kind of, sometimes you can just get it to work. Like you'll see this here, it's the 127 BPM. I think this is the original BPM. And I kind of just like took parts and just glued them together. But if you look, it's the same type of logic where you have the first three and then a gap that you fill in, the first three and a gap that you fill in, you notice, because if I just, look at this, if I just removed it, all these gaps, it's the exact same as what we were doing before. So that's kind of the logic I use. That's what I did for this. I just threw some shit together. That's kind of hard. I kind of like this one. I like this one. I like the sped up one. I want like a comparison of the two different ways. Well, we can actually do a comparison of all the ways we've done it. So let me get the original one. So here I got all three of the ways I've shown. This is the first one with the gaps. Shot right here is kind of weird. Then when I sped it up, I kind of want to loop this part, right? Da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun dun. Yeah, that's kind of tough. And then just the random chops that I did, I like this one the most. Hey, Millie massage your hoe. Hey, she got the ride to go. Hey, I got the ride to go. Hey, I got the pride to go. Hey, I got the pride to go. Hey, ain't nobody to go. Hey, ain't nobody to go. Hey, yeah. We just throw this 808 here. It'll be loud. That shit is not in tune. But yeah, that's just a couple ways. That's how I've usually done it. Yeah.